I'm Lonwabo from the Rise SA team. What we'll cover today is the admin block, how to filter out grade 12 learners, how to deactivate a learner if they've left the school, how to reinstate the above learner and make him active, how to move a learner to the next grade. Then secondly, admin and accounting, how to view a payment history for one learner, how to drill down payment history to every transaction. Then the third point, financial reporting for principal and the SGB, how to pull the AR aging report for all learners, how to drill down in income statement, cash basis, and how to drill down in budget plan versus actual. And the fourth point, the accounting block, how to match a payment to a specific learner account, how to exclude a transaction. And then lastly, the 043 form report, how to run the automated 043 report.
Hi, good morning, everyone. If you have questions, feel free to post your questions in the chat window, or otherwise we can also take your questions after the presentation. You can just unmute your microphone. So allow me to share my screen with you. Okay, so the first point that we will look at is how to filter out a grade 12 learners on the system. So for that, we will go to the school section, the learner data module. As you can see, that's your learner data in one place. And what I will do is I'm going to select grade 12. And it will basically show you all grade 12 learners in one place. You can also save this report. You can print it out. It's up to you. The second point is how to deactivate a learner if they have left the school. So in order to do that, you can just open a learner's card and click on inactivate. So this learner is currently already inactive, so I'm not going to change the status. So I can just open another learner. Clear this and make him inactive. So this is the inactivation status. So I just click on change. I can enter a date when it happened. And I can select a reason. So a reason can be created on the school site. It's up to you. So I will choose this. Execute. So this has been now created. And what that means is that he will no longer be available in the learner data module. However, if you still would like to see the outstanding balances for that learner, you can access this information. If I would like to reinstate and make him active again, I just need to click once and that's it. He is now active. The next point is how to move a learner to the next grade. So in order to do that, we will go to School, Tools, Change Grades. What happens here is we will select the current class that we would like to move up. So I'm going to select 12A. And then the list of students will basically appear in one place. I can just tick all the learners if they have made it to the next grade. Let's make it not 12, but actually another grade, let's say 10A. So I'm just going to change that. So that's my 10A. I'm going to tick all the learners. And I'm going to move them up to 11A. Now, if some learners haven't made it to the next grade, I can just untick them and they will remain in their current grade. Once I click Save New Values, it will move the ticked learners to the next grade. You can also, on this screen, you can also set an inactive status if they have moved to another school or left the school for whatever reason. The next point is how to view a payment history for one learner. So in order to view the payment history, we go to Students. We will open up any learner card. And we go to the payment history. So this here basically enables you to get an overview of everything on the financial side of this specific learner's account. So you can see all the statements that have been issued, the invoices, the payments, and it will be in one place. The next point is how to drill down payment history to every transaction. So in order to drill down to every transaction, if you would like to maybe see in detail what happened here, you just click on that transaction and it will take you to this payment receipt. And then you can see exactly what has happened here. The method of payment, the corresponding invoice, and so on. And you can basically drill down to any transaction under that specific learner. So this is the statement and so on. The next point is how to pull the AR aging report for all learners. Now, in order to pull your AR report, if you maybe forgot where it is on the system, we can just start typing in the search function and the report will appear. So I would like to see last year's information. So I just select last year as a period and I click Run Report. What happens here is that it will show you all your learners with all the financial information for each of them, as well as the balances over these periods of time. So if the learner has settled, it will show you. If they still owe money to the school, it will also show you here. The next point is how to drill down in income statement cash basis. So in order to do that, we go to Accounting, Income Statement Cash Basis. Income Statement Cash Basis allows you to view your current financial position of the school. So all you need to do is just run your report and it will give you this overview. You can also select a different setup. So you can view it monthly, quarterly, weekly, etc. So in my case, I'm just viewing it for the previous year. And if you would like to drill down, so if I want to see more details on this specific category, I can just click, select transactions, and it will give you a rundown of everything under that category. Now, if you would like to drill down even further, you can just click and see exactly what's happening here. So that's the supplier and the actual transaction. You can also select it and drill down. The next point is how to drill down in budget plan versus actual. So when you join the program, your budget gets imported with all the current amounts And then what happens is that you can basically run your budget plan versus actual in order to view how you're tracking against your budget. So I'm going to select last year, I'm going to run a report, and it shows you here your budgeted amounts versus your actual, and also if you are over your budget or under your budget. So let's look, for example, at municipal services. So the budgeted amount is 427,000. The current amount is 23,000. So it means there is still, it's still under the budget, and that is the amount that is still allocated to this category. Also, if you would like to maybe drill down, you can just click on the amount, select transactions, and see the full list of these transactions under that category. And you can also drill down further and see exactly what it was for, the supplier, and so on. If you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat window, or you can also ask your questions out loud once I finish with my presentation. So the next one is how to match a payment to a specific learner account. So in the system, you've got a direct link with 4 South African banks. And what happens here is that your statement gets pulled automatically, or you can also import your CSV file. So if you would like to match a payment, all you need to do is click New, Match. It will then bring up the invoice of that specific learner. You will tick that invoice or also opening balance, and you will match that payment. Once you approve it, it will go live. However, if you would like to also unapprove it, you can always go back to your approved transactions and unapprove selected if you want to change something. The next point is how to exclude a transaction. So sometimes one gets the 0 transactions, or maybe there is a duplicate transaction. So in that case, you can just select that transaction, click Exclude Transactions. The system will alert you if you would really like to exclude it. So I'm going to say yes. What happens is that that transaction has been moved now to the Excluded Transactions tab. And it will appear here. The next point is the O43 form report and how to run it, save it, and print it out. So the RISE system is the first system to automate the O43 form. And what happens here is that as you work with your accounting, matching your payments, creating payment receipts, deposit documents, tracking and capturing your petty cash, and so on, it will automatically be pulled into your O43. Now, how does that work? So your chart of accounts gets matched to your O43 entries. And you can also basically create additional accounts. You can maybe create a sub account and also basically map it to the correct entry. Now, as a result of this, you will be able to pull your O43 form automatically from the system, either for the quarter or semester. So we will run it for the semester. Click Run Report. And you'll be able to see it here. Basically, all the information that you need. You can either print it, or you can also save it. So all we need to do is select Excel sheet and then click OK, and you'll be able to export it out of the system. So I think we've covered all the points now. So if you have questions, please feel free to type your questions in the chat window, or you can also just unmute your microphone and ask a question.
Ada, there is a request in the chat box.
Yes.
So if I could read it out loud for you, it's can you please hold the index page for 2 minutes, because we are no fee paying school. Some of us would like to know what other feature.
Index page. Okay, so for no fee paying schools, basically what will apply? So it's the same in terms of your learner data, in terms of your O43, the budget, the marks, suppliers, so whatever outgoing payments that the school makes, and your fundraising accounts. So if you do fundraising and parents settle it either in cash or EFT, you can basically work with that in the bank stream, and it will also reflect on the communicator side. So when your parents make a payment, if it's a fundraising activity, they will also see it on the communicator. I hope that this answers your question, but if you have more specific questions, please feel free to ask.
All right, so just before we conclude, I would like to highlight that the RISE system is a one-stop system. Accounting, the O43 form, admin block, and communication are all in one system. You can run financial and admin reports in real time. Teachers can create news, incidents, and input marks directly from the communication app. All right, so it may be utilized to inform parents of their school fee, their child's homework. And on your right, you can see an example of a live billing statement, which parents will be able to see. Because it is a fully clouded system, you will be able to access it anywhere from your computer or laptop. And we have received positive feedback from schools on our excellent support. The RISE system is the first to automate the O43 form, which can now save you 15 hours per term. And you can increase your fee collection by at least 5%, which is approximately 250,000 rands. And our onboarding process takes about 2 to 3 weeks, given that the documents are sent timely and an experienced accountant carries out this process. In conclusion, the RISE system adds value to the school principal, bursar, staff, parents, and learners. I'd like to thank you for your attention. And lastly, I will post a link in the chat for your feedback. And if you would like to set up a brief meeting with your principal and your finance team, you can indicate in the form.
Thank you very much, Lonwabo. If you have any feedback or input, please feel free to share. And as Lonwabo has mentioned, we will appreciate your feedback. So the Google form has 3 questions just to basically get your feedback about the forum, and also if you would like to possibly set up a meeting, you can indicate that. So I will just check if there are more questions. Is this deal only with financial issues? How far does it go in as far as assessments, etc.? So it is one integrated system. Let me maybe quickly share my screen. So it is a one-stop system. So the accounting side, the admin side. So when I say admin, it means basically the learner data information. Let me just close this. So as you can see at the bottom, I can also switch between the tabs. So I'm just going to close all the tabs that I have opened so they don't distract me. And then I can just give you an overview. So the admin block, including the attendance, the detentions, the marks, so the assessments, the progress reports can be generated, also emailed. They can also be viewed by parents on the communicator. And all of this is basically linked with each other. So maybe just in case that if you weren't present during this part of presentation, you can view basically your payment history for every learner. So as I was showing, this is your learner, that's the guardians that you can input. Once you input marks for this specific learner, it will also be basically visible here. If you create your incidents, you can also view it here. But most importantly is that the financial side, whatever you do for that learner, you can just check it here in one place. And also your parents can view this on the app, so on the communicator. And the feedback that we have received is that because of this ability of parents to see the statements on the app, the schools have increased their school fee collection, because parents no longer need to phone you all the time to check, if the payment has gone through. They can basically see it on the app, and also it reminds them to pay their fees on time. So the system also assists you to get your school fees on time, and also to get it in larger amounts, basically. And that was very encouraging to hear from the schools that are using the system, because what they've done is they have compared their previous year when they didn't have this ability to basically enable parents to see what they have paid and what they owe to the school. And they could definitely see that there was an increase, which is about 5%. And if we're talking in rand value, that's for that specific case, it's $250,000. So that was the feedback. The next question is, can we get a rundown on the cost as per program? How much for finances? How much for admin? Registration of learners? Okay, so what would be best probably is just if you can maybe just give us this feedback in the Google form, so that we can maybe have a meeting outside of this forum, because we will just need to check some things with you in terms of exactly who will be using the system, how many users, and also what parts of the system you would like to use. But just overall, to share the feedback from other schools is that they do save quite a bit, because it helps to basically have one system, not 3 or 4 systems. And there is also, because it's a cloud system, you're able to not only work from anywhere. So if there is lockdown or any kind, that scenario that we had last year, so all the bursars that use the RISE system, they were able just to carry on from home. And that was huge value, because they could just, still keep in touch with parents and, basically remind parents about paying fees and also capture payments. And it's not bound to any physical computer. You can just access the system from any laptop, any computer. And in terms of the mobile app, another thing that is basically different from other systems is that your teachers, your admin staff, or even your principal can work from the app. So you can actually create news updates directly from the app. You can keep track of incidents, input marks. And the reason this has been done, that was based on the requirements that we have received from schools. And the request was that, sometimes you don't have a laptop. What if you're at home and you just have a phone with you? And then you can just basically use your phone, just open a communicator. And you can, if you're a staff member at the school, then this will be set up on the system. So you will be a staff member on the system, and that will basically enable you to create your news in order to communicate with your parents. And also you can post news for a specific channel. You can input marks for your specific class if you're a teacher. And it just gives you that flexibility, basically. All right, I will check the next question. Can this program run stock for uniform and textbooks? Okay, thank you for this question. So the system has inventory module. So you can basically create your inventory items. In terms of textbooks, so we are currently working on this. So in collaboration with one of the schools that has requested this, and this will be basically developed in the next few months. And the idea is that you can basically keep track of your books, textbooks, when you basically give them to learners, and you can use the barcode scanner and all of that. So that is currently in progress. I hope that this answers your question. Okay, there is another question. Can I invoice uniform and textbooks to learners? So as I have mentioned, these textbooks development that is currently in progress will enable the schools basically to invoice parents for whatever it might be. So if it's a fine for the lost textbook, or if it's your school uniform, that will be basically possible. Just to also quickly share with you, so as you saw the O43 form and other aspects of the system, so these were developed and created as a result of direct collaboration with schools. So like last year, for example, one school requested our team to develop the incident module. So the way it works is basically when we get requirements from one school, we analyze those requirements, and we can actually see how it can be implemented in the system. And then we also liaise with other schools to see if they maybe have additional requirements or additional requests. And that's basically how it has been working. So it's not just that you're using something that is set in stone, but the system gets basically developed and improved based on the direct feedback and requirements of the schools. So like the O43 form, there are schools from various districts, from also various types of schools. Like, for example, there are primary schools, high schools, or art centers or musical centers. So they all have slightly different setup. They have a slightly different setup, and then this basically gets implemented in the system so that the system is compliant with their requirements, and when they submit it to the department, then it works 100% for that specific school. If you would like to just set up a brief Zoom meeting with your principal, your finance team, and your admin staff members, you can just request that and we will confirm it with you. But otherwise, thank you very much for your attention and for coming to attend this forum. And should you have questions or queries later, feel free to get in touch with us. Otherwise, thank you so much for your attention and have a great day.